Hey everyone, welcome to this week's Azure Infrastructure Update. It's the 27th of January. And just a couple of updates this week. As always, you can jump to any particular update you care about the most. New videos this week. So I pushed out part 7 of the Azure Masterclass. This was virtual machines and virtual machine scale sets. And then I added a video to the AZ900 course, just giving an overview of what is Microsoft Entra. Just so you understand what all the key components of that actually are. Onto the compute and the new features. So App Server now has Azure Storage Mount if it's a Windows Code app service. Now this already existed if it was Linux. So for Linux code and container based, I could use Azure Storage, both blob and file share, i.e. SMB. If it was a Windows container, then I could use the SMB, the Azure Files based. But now if it's just regular Windows code and app service, I can use Azure Storage, Azure Files, so that SMB. If I need any kind of durable storage, I might want to have shared access and multiple things can access the same storage. But obviously with SMB, I can have many things accessing at the same time. And each of the app services can connect to up to 5 mounts. It's very easy to do. If we actually just jump over super quickly and look at this, if I was just to go and look at an app service, there we go. If we go to configuration, and we'll see an option on the right-hand side of path mappings, you'll see this mount storage. Now it is saying, hey, Azure Files or blob, but if you read the documentation, it does stress the point that for Windows-based code, it only supports Azure Files and does not support blob. So just understand, but hey, very easily now I can go and add in that ability to connect to Azure Files very simply and use it as part of my app. Classic VM retirement has been extended to September 2023. So if I'm using the old Azure Service Management mode virtual machine, so classic, I have a little bit more time to shift to the Azure Resource Manager model, which really you want to do is the better model. They've given you a little bit of extra time to get shifted to that. On the networking side, so now for private endpoints, I can use application security groups. If I think about a regular network security group, it's about rules based on normally IP CIDR ranges or service tags, which are Microsoft defined sets of IP ranges. And I can set rules for both the inbound and the outbound, the ports, the protocols, allow, deny. What an application security group really is, it's a label, a tag. So I define these, and then I can use those in my network security group rules instead of a CIDR range. This gives me a lot more flexibility in how I might organize my resources, so I don't have to have them aligned to specific subnets or IP blocks where I define my rules. And then I take my network interface cards and I can add these application security group labels to them, which will then get applied and used by the network security group rules. So it gives me a lot more flexibility. Well, now, NSGs that I have enabled on a subnet with private endpoint, so that's a special configuration I have to do. I have to enable private endpoint network policies on the subnet that contains the private endpoint that then makes network security groups and UDRs, user-defined routes, apply to those. But now in addition, it will also support application security groups defined within those network security groups. So that is now GA. On the storage side, UltraDisk now has incremental snapshots in preview. So remember, UltraDisk is the top tier, lowest latency, highest performing disk. It's unique along with Premium SSD v2, that I define a capacity, but then separately I can define the IOPS and the throughput I require, and I can change those IOPS and throughput dynamically while it's being used. So as time changes, I need different IOPS and different throughput. I can change to what I need, so I only pay for what I need. Well, now with those, I can use incremental snapshots. So an incremental snapshot, as the name implies, it only stores the delta, so the changed data since the previous snapshot. So it's going to optimize the amount of money I have to spend on that additional storage. One thing with these, if we remember, incremental snapshots write to standard hard disk drive storage. So again, it optimizes the cost. So when I take an incremental snapshot, in the background, it has to do a copy job to write that to the standard hard disk drive based storage. Well, that takes a little bit of time. So the point of that is that because this is running in the background after I take the snapshot, there will be a delay before I can actually use that snapshot. So just to understand, there'll be a little bit of a lag. That background copy has to complete, and then I'll be able to leverage it, create new disks, whatever I want to do. Miscellaneous. This is really about the cost management and billing experience we get in the portal. And now if you're an indirect EA customer, I can get a lot of the same features that I could get if I was just a direct EA customer. So indirect would be, hey, I'm using a Microsoft partner, for example, as a reseller. But now with this enhancement, I get all the same ability to create and manage the billing hierarchy. I can use departments, accounts, I can create subscriptions, I can view the Azure usage, I can use the charges, I can manage API access keys. So now I get those same abilities as an indirect EA customer. And that's it. So as always, I appreciate you watching. I hope that was useful. Until the next video, take care.